You're watching ABC7 News at 4, starting with First Alert Weather.
Good afternoon, I'm Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. I hope you had a great weekend and thank you for joining us here at 4 o'clock. We are looking at warm temperatures again. We had just one day of cool air over the weekend and then things have really heated back up. Let's go to the maps to show you what's happening as far as that. Again, the tower cam showing pretty nice conditions out there. Lots of sunshine, a few high clouds occasionally, and you can see pretty calm conditions out on the waters there. We aren't looking at any rainfall around here. There are some showers well to our north, but right now the warm week ahead. We're expecting high temperatures into the mid-80s. A weak front arrives on Saturday. It will bring with it a chance for a few showers. And then cooler next week, we're going to start to see some northerly winds gather in behind a front. Right now, that heavy weather to the north and east of us right now over in the nation's capital. And also you can see some clouds kind of streaming on by. A lot of clouds to the north associated with that old frontal boundary. It's now a warm front, which is heading northward, bringing some light rainfall into North Florida, some heavier storms offshore. Not a lot going on here along the immediate west coast of Florida. And as far as our current conditions go, we do have generally fair skies right now. You can see the radar picture depicting one or two lone showers around, but not very intense shower activity at this point. And as far as the overall picture goes, we are looking at a little bit more heavier rainfall to the north of us again along that frontal boundary, a few showers over the panhandle. Currently, we have some light rain at the airport. It's 82 degrees. Well, more on our forecast coming up in a few minutes. Jacqueline, Scott.
All right, Bob, thank you so much. Now to our top story. Right now, the Sarasota City Commission is discussing whether or not to add parking meters in downtown Sarasota.
ABC7's Jackie Kelly joins us now live from Sarasota City Hall. She breaks down how that discussion has been going. Jackie?
Scott, Jacqueline, the city parking manager just finished giving up his proposal for this new thing. Now commissioners and the mayor have started questioning him, and 12 people are currently in line to voice their opinions on this topic. Now the proposal is to put parking meters on Main Street and South Palm Avenue in downtown Sarasota, much like the ones on St. Armand's Circle. Now parking garages and street parking on the other streets would remain as is. They say that this will help fix the $650,000 parking deficit that they're currently facing. And stay tuned, because at 6 o'clock we should have an answer on whether or not they're bringing meters back to downtown Sarasota. Back to you guys.
All right, Jackie, thank you. After 4 bike riders were hit by a car last week, some Venice residents are calling for a change. Protesters were out by Center Road and East Village Drive this morning. They want the speed limit reduced on Center Road from 45 to 35 miles an hour. They also want a traffic light installed. Last Tuesday, 4 people were hospitalized after being hit by a car on Center Road. As of yesterday, one of the 4 cyclists has been released from the hospital. Another is in fair condition and 2 others remain critical. One protester says they've been asking for this change well before this latest accident.
This intersection behind us is a very dangerous intersection. I know firsthand about this intersection. My husband and I were coming out of church on Christmas Eve and we were broadsided. We're going to suffer with those injuries for the rest of our lives.
Those in favor of the changes say they plan to be at a county commission meeting on Wednesday to ask for them. A Sarasota man is arrested after a search of his home revealed child pornography. Sarasota police tipped off about Michael Grider after 2 cyber tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Grider was arrested and charged with 17 counts of child porn possession. Detectives have not found any local victims connected to this case, but this investigation is ongoing. Jacqueline joins us now with a big trial beginning today that's getting some extra security.
That's right, Scott. Today, the trial of a Mexican drug lord known as El Chapo is getting underway in New York City. It begins with jury selection, but El Chapo's reputation is sparking some security concerns. He's accused of dozens of murders and also selling hundreds of tons of cocaine. On top of that, he's already escaped jail in Mexico twice and is known for intimidating witnesses. Right now, he's being held in a high security wing of a federal jail in Manhattan. It's a place filled with some of the country's worst terrorists and mobsters. But his lawyer claims the past 15 months in solitary has changed him.
His mental state has deteriorated, not just his memory, but just his affect, the way he understands things.
Still, police are not taking any chances. They will transport him to the courthouse by shutting down the Brooklyn Bridge, rushing him in a police motorcade with a SWAT team and ambulance, and it will all be tracked by helicopters. An update now on the caravan of migrants making their way through Mexico toward the U.S. border. Mexico's Interior Ministry estimates that there are more than 5,000 migrants on the way. However, hundreds of them are expected to stay in Mexico, a part of the group reaching Mexico City over the weekend. President Trump has called for troops to be deployed to the border ahead of their arrival. That move could cost between $200 and $300 million. That's according to an independent analysis and Department of Defense figures. Now let's send it back to Scott with some disturbing accusations being made against a Florida teen. Scott?
That's right, Jacqueline. A 15-year-old teenager remains behind bars in Volusia County after investigators say he strangled his mother following an argument over bad grades. The teen will face first-degree premeditated murder charge in the death of 46-year-old Gail Clevenger. She was found this weekend buried underneath a church fire pit. Two 17-year-olds who allegedly helped the boy conceal the crime have been released into home detention where they'll wear ankle monitors. Prosecutors are now deciding whether to try the 15-year-old as an adult. Now to that deadly shooting at a Tallahassee yoga studio. We're now hearing from the father of one of the victims. 21-year-old student Maura Binkley was killed when Scott Burley opened fire Friday night, killing 2 women and injuring 6 others before taking his own life. Binkley's father says it's a cruel irony that his daughter became a victim of gun violence.
She grew up in the age of these mass shootings, often in schools, and she just saw the suffering, also the senselessness of this, and just wanted to do something, And I remember calling and saying, Dad, I'm going down to the Capitol. I'll be there with the students from Parkland, the parents and the other people, and to whatever.
A vigil was held last night for the victims at Florida State University. Sheriff's deputies say a woman walked into a Walt Disney World resort claiming a stranger had given her a newborn baby. Investigators later realized that woman was actually the newborn's mother. She's now at a facility for treatment and evaluation. Deputies say she brought the baby into the Animal Kingdom Lodge around 2 a.m. Sunday. The Florida Department of Children and Families has been notified. What goes into our waterways has been a huge concern lately on the Sun Coast, especially with the ongoing red tide outbreak. And one of the biggest man-made pollutants for our waters, not plastic straws or even plastic bags, it's those cigarette butts. The filters in cigarettes are made up of plastic that can take decades to decompose. And before 2013, Sarasota County tried to cut back on the pollution by not allowing smokers to light up on Suncoast beaches and parks. However, the state of Florida overruled that ban. Since then, the county has been trying to make people aware of the ongoing problem.
We typically find upwards towards the tens of thousands of cigarette butts in a one-day cleanup event for probably about 30 locations around the county.
Tonight at 6, we'll give you a closer look at how our local governments are working together to help keep cigarette butts off of our beaches. Still to come, more than 5 million Floridians have already voted ahead of tomorrow's election. We'll break down the early voting numbers coming up next.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Hi, I'm Gary. I've lost 36 pounds. My blood pressure, blood sugar are back to normal and I feel great.
If you'd like to lose up to 1 pound a day of fat, call me now for your free, no obligation appointment.
You like to pay less. That's why you made Honda Accord the best-selling mid-size car in America. Get the redesigned Accord, the North American Car of the Year, or Civic, a KBB.com Best Buy for less than the competition. Like SUVs and trucks? Get Motor Trend's SUV of the Year, CRV, the 8-passenger Pilot, or Ridgeline truck for up to $4,240 less today at your local Honda dealer.
I heard about the Detoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Detoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
and that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Totally Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. dietary guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Hi, my name is Kim. At 50 years old, I've been on a lot of diets. With Dr. D's plan, I've been able to lose 25 pounds in 40 days.
If you'd like to lose up to 1 pound a day of fat, call me now for your free, no obligation appointment.
Nearly 40% of Floridians eligible to vote in tomorrow's midterm election have already cast their ballots. More Republicans have returned vote-by-mail ballots, while Democrats have turned out in higher numbers to early voting sites. Right now, Democrats hold an overall advantage over the GOP in pre-election day voting by about 25,000 votes statewide. Florida State University political science professor Carol Weissert says high-profile and close races for U.S. Senate and the governor's office led many people to make up their minds early in the process.
This has been a very competitive race at the top of the ticket for both the Republicans and Democrats. Been a lot of attention on the campaign. So it makes sense that there's more early voting and absentee voting.
So far, 1.8 million more Floridians have voted ahead of Election Day compared to the 2014 midterm election. And with Election Day less than 24 hours away, it is shaping up to be one of the most hotly contested midterm elections in history across the country. A record-breaking 34 million Americans have already cast early votes. Both Republicans and Democrats have heavy hitters on the campaign trail. President Trump focusing heavily on immigration in this final stretch.
And you want more crime, vote Democrat. If you want strong borders and safe communities, vote for the Republicans.
They're telling us that the single most grave threat to America is a bunch of poor, impoverished, broke, hungry refugees 1,000 miles away.
Voter turnout is on pace to break records for a midterm as Americans want to have a say in who controls Congress. Let's get to Jacqueline now in the newsroom for a look at what's trending today.
Scott, 3 women are in custody after they allegedly carried a large banner onto the Manhattan Bridge bike path on Monday. Take a look. One word on that banner was exposed to the public. It said "vote." Police stopped the group before they could unroll the rest of that banner. Apparently, there were several members of the group who ran off when police approached them, and they now await charges. Now to overseas and incredible images of destruction. This video taken in southern France today where a building collapsed, leaving a giant pile of rubble and beams. There was no immediate word on any casualties, but you can see that rubble spewing into the street and a large gap between 2 buildings where that collapsed building once stood. The building appears to have at least 6 floors. Officials say that building was in poor condition and had been subject to an evacuation order, but it's believed squatters may have been using it. Well, to recognize 100 years since the end of World War I, the Tower of London is hosting a stunning 8-night event. It's called Beyond the Deepening Shadow, the Tower Remembers. That nightly event fills the tower's moat with thousands of brightly lit torches to remember those who died during the Great War, which lasted 5 years and changed Europe and the world forever. The event's final night also marks the anniversary of the war's end, which was declared at the 11th hour of the 11th day on the 11th month. Let's send it back to Scott in the studio for a look at today's consumer news.
Yeah, FedEx rates are going up again, Jacqueline. The company will raise the rates beginning in January. Prices will increase by an average of nearly 5%. It matches the increase that FedEx put in place at the start of this year. More online shopping has added to the number of packages shipped, but that's not the only factor here. Higher fuel prices and a shortage of truck drivers also impacted costs. The U.S. Supreme Court has declined to hear the broadband industry's challenge of Obama-era net neutrality rules. Those rules once required internet providers to treat all online traffic equally. However, the FCC's 2015 order to impose net neutrality rules and strictly regulate broadband was already reversed. Broadband industry lobby groups were still trying to overturn court decisions that upheld the FCC order. A win for the industry could have prevented future administrations from imposing a similar strict set of rules. Delays at a busy Northeast airport this morning after a power outage. It happened at Bradley International Airport in Connecticut. There was an issue with the main source of power. At one point, the power was restored, but then it went out again about 5 minutes later. It caused delays for arriving and departing flights. The cause of that outage has not been released yet, but things are back to normal there at the airport this afternoon. Let's get more on our weather now with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob?
Well, not back to normal as far as temperatures go, Scott. We've had temperatures today into the low to mid 80s once again after one cool day over the weekend on Saturday. We're going to look at the beach cam here, and you can see a lot of folks out there enjoying some nice beach weather. Yesterday, a lot of clouds around. Not much rain yesterday, but boy, there were a lot of clouds. And you can see pretty calm conditions out on the sea there. And it looks like we'll say the seas are going to be running 2 feet or less, it looks like. Right on in through much of this week, so if you have any boating plan, that's going to be the case. Now, there's a warm front that's right here over north central Florida. This warm front will continue to move its way northward throughout the next 24 hours, and we're going to stay in that sector of the warm air. And that means, looks like we'll see temperatures running around 5 to 7 degrees above average right through much of this week. Now, there's another cold front on the way. That cold front is due to arrive on Saturday. It brings with it a slight chance for a few showers. There's not much to this front, but it will bring us a few showers, I think, on Saturday. Current temperature 81 degrees right now into Jacksonville, but you factor in the heat index, it feels like 87 there. So we're back into the heat index now. Didn't last long, that fall weather. 85 it feels like in Sarasota. Well, the forecast model is showing we'll see generally partly cloudy skies throughout the next several days. A front will approach, and that will get close to us as a little low pressure area develops over the southern plain states and kind of works a front our way. On Wednesday, it'll be over north central Florida, and then eventually it kind of hangs out there. It gets a push over the weekend and brings our rain chances up to about 40%. Well, as far as the wind flow goes, you'll see that basically out of the east and southeast over the next couple of days, anywhere from 5 to 10 miles an hour, so not much of a wind. We are expecting, though, those winds to eventually switch around to a northerly direction. That begins on Sunday, and I think pretty much all week next week we should see pretty good northerly wind flow. That'll keep us on the cooler side, or at least back down to near average temperatures. As far as the dew point temperatures go, those are summer-like now in the low 70s here along the west coast of Florida. A little bit cooler and drier air there in Orlando. The forecast tomorrow calling for high temperatures to warm up into the low 80s. We'll have a mixture of sun and clouds similar to what we saw today. No real threat of any significant rain. There's always a slight chance for a shower or two to pop up when you get temperatures up into the mid 80s this time of year, but no washout expected. As far as the extended forecast goes, and here it is. Here's Sunday. Again, that front comes down close to us. European model suggesting that. And then we will see the northerly wind, it looks like, throughout the week next week. And that will keep us a little bit on the cooler side, at least highs into the upper 70s as opposed to the mid 80s. Currently, we do have some clouds around, some light rain at the airport actually, and temperature at 82 degrees and winds out of the southwest at 7. Nationally, well, we're looking at this area of low pressure, pretty strong one now, moving through the central plain states. You can see the twist there, bringing some rough weather into southern Illinois now, heading off toward Indiana. We had our fair share of rough weather last Friday, obviously, with the tornadoes reported in places with that cold front just to our north. In fact, 4 EF1 tornadoes were confirmed today by the National Weather Service into Florida, just north of our area. Temperatures, current temperatures in the 50s and even some 40s in the Minneapolis. It's 44 degrees there. You can see the warm weather continuing over our area. 84 tomorrow, 82 in New Orleans, and 58 degrees the expected high into Cleveland. Well, let's get to the boating forecast. Winds will be out of the south, switching around to the southwest at 5 to 10 knot seas. Less than 2 feet really for the most part, a light chop on the bays and inland waters. Water temperature has cooled down now to 78 degrees. The extended forecast shapes up like this. Good weather tomorrow. We'll see a high of 86. 86 again on Wednesday. You see those temperatures staying warm. A little bit cooler on Saturday as that front gets close to us, and doesn't really do a whole lot with temperatures, just drops down a few degrees back down to near average. Be sure to download our new ABC7 weather app, or update yours if you haven't already. I know I did on mine. It's a lot easier to maneuver through and actually change it over from radar to clouds and even temperatures. You can check out the sea surface temperatures as well on that new weather app. Go to your First Alert Weather, search WWSB at your app store and download it now for free.
Bob, you were talking about the tornadoes we had last week to our north. Well, the National Weather Service confirming today it was a tornado that damaged an Amazon distribution warehouse in Baltimore, Maryland. It killed 2 men there. And look at the damage here. Weather Service investigators say Friday's tornado had winds of around 105 miles an hour.
The twister also blew over a tractor trailer on Interstate 95 and smashed through garage doors at a van rental facility. The storm pulled off part of the Amazon building's roof, including iron rafters. A dozen cargo trailers were also scattered about with that tornado.
Well, historic rainfall and flooding continue to ravage Italy. This has been an ongoing problem there. Look at the destruction here. You can see trees uprooted, cars and roads damaged by the flooding. Italian officials say another 12 people died in Sicily over the weekend. That brings the death toll now to 29.
That number going up as rescues continue. Many remain missing. So far, damage estimates have reached over $1 billion from that.
Horrible scene there in Italy. Thank you, Bob. Still to come, if you like to take extravagant vacations or at least dream about them, we've got a story for you about a one-of-a-kind hotel.
I'm Linda Carson from Suncoast View. Coming up Tuesday morning live at 9, the West Coast Black Theater previews the Black Nativity with a performance of Joy to the World and more. Calusa Brewing talks about their International Beer Festival. You may spot your new home in Suncoast for sale and learn how to fill empty bowls in the kitchen. That's all coming up Tuesday morning, live at 9.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 70.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. That's right, half. Nearly 50%, mostly by making small everyday changes in your diet and controlling your weight, walking more, eating less, and eating foods that help you and your family to seriously reduce the risk of cancer. And of course, by not smoking. Visit the Cancer Prevention Together We Can website and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, stats, and more about protecting your family. Go to prevent50.org.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right? Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy. I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's and FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
You now have the power to prioritize your Facebook feed and get local news and information from the team you trust. Go to the ABC7 Sarasota page on Facebook. Give us a like, then click following and choose See First. That's it. Customize even more by choosing notifications. Choose breaking news, posts, live videos, anything you want to see in real time. Take control of your newsfeed and stay connected to what's happening in your community with ABC7 on Facebook. Like ABC7 on Facebook to stay connected to the team you trust.
Need a vacation? Well, welcome to paradise. The Conrad Maldives Rengalis Island has opened the world's first ever underwater hotel. The two-story villa is set more than 15 feet below the Indian Ocean. Look at all those fish. It includes a private gym, bar, infinity pool, and an ocean-facing bathtub. The top floor, which is above the water, has a relaxation deck where you can sun yourself. Not for everyone, though, mainly because of the price tag. A cool $50,000 a night will get you a room here, but it's only accessible via a 4-night, $200,000 package that includes a personal chef for all meals and the use of a private boat. Looks pretty nice. All right, Jacqueline's in the newsroom now with a look at some of the other stories we're working on tonight.
Scott, a powerful new opioid has been approved by the FDA. Coming up tonight at 5, we'll take a look at why many are unhappy with that approval as the Florida in the country continues to deal with an opioid epidemic. And tonight at 6, how a local woman is helping veterans and their families heal after losing someone to suicide. And tonight at 7, the countdown continues to the general election. We'll give you a preview of what's on the ballot and what's at stake. Let's send it back to Bob for a final look at your forecast this 4 o'clock hour. Bob.
Good afternoon, everyone. Here's a look at what's happening for your beach walk. We're going to get partly cloudy skies. Winds will be out of the southwest at 5 to 10. There's a slight chance for an isolated shower, but not much. Green flags flying. This picture, by the way, taken today from Sydney Desmond, who says there were no hints of red tide. And I noticed from these flags blowing, it's all on shore at that point. So that's a good sign. Again, sunset coming an hour earlier now at 5:44. I know that was a little bit of a shake-up for me last night, and Holmes Beach webcam showing things pretty calm out there out on the waters. You can see those clouds moving in from the Gulf, and that's keeping the humidity rather high. And as far as the forecast goes, we're looking for a warm week ahead, week front Saturday, cooler next week. Scott?
All right, Bob, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on ABC7 News at 4. We'll see you again in about 30 minutes.